Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. In this tutorial I'll be demonstrating how to create this Stranger Things themed upside down cake. This is a video collaboration with the lovely baker, so don't forget to check out her awesome video at the end of this one. To begin, I have a 7-inch cake that I've stuck onto a 12-inch cake board with some buttercream, and then I'm filling in with some grey buttercream just to add a bit of effect. I would recommend using American buttercream for this project purely because we are going to be adding fondant on top. After you've stacked all of your cake layers, create a thin layer of frosting around the whole cake just to trap in any crumbs and to create a more stable cake in the meantime. That way when it sets, it's a lot easier to cover with the final layer of frosting later. Clean out the sides of your cake, bring that lip of frosting to the center and let your cake rest in the fridge for 20 minutes. In the meantime, I'm working on my top tier cake. This is a 5-inch cake, and there is a 5-inch cake board underneath this cake even though you can't see it. Just creating that final layer of frosting now, so this is just the last layer that goes on top, nice and neat. Go around with your bench scraper and then clean up the top by bringing that lip of frosting to the center, and then pop your cakes into the fridge to set for 20 minutes. Here I've got some grey fondant. I like to use the Bakels brand of fondant, and I've dusted it with some cornstarch. You could also use icing sugar or vegetable shortening just to make sure that it doesn't stick to your counter as you roll it out. Always rotate your fondant as you're rolling it out to maintain that circular shape. Drape it over your cake and then push out any of the air in the very top and seal in that top edge. Unfold those pleats and massage the fondant onto your cake so that it sticks on. And you'll just want to repeat this until you reach the very bottom of the cake. I've taken a fondant smoother and I'm pressing it down at the very bottom of the cake to make sure that it sticks, and then removing that extra fondant, just cutting it where the cake and the board meet. My cake did have a bit of condensation on it, so it was a bit hard with the smoothers because it kept sticking. So I've added some cornstarch around the whole top and the sides of the cake, and that way I can very easily smooth out my fondant with the fondant smoothers. If you have any air that catches, not a problem, just pop, and then with your smoother press it out of between the cake. Once you're done, pop it into the fridge and then do the exact same thing with your other cake. Granted, you can keep yours at room temperature as well, you don't really have to put it in the fridge. Climate in Australia is not incredibly warm, at least not here in Melbourne anyway, so putting it in the fridge is not a problem here. Follow the same steps with the top tier, only adding in blue fondant instead. And then smooth out the sides and the top and pop it into the fridge in the meantime while you work on your bottom cake. This is black gel food colour that I've watered down with some vodka. If you can't use vodka, you could also use lemon extract, lemon juice, freshly squeezed, or even white vinegar. Anything that's really acidic and will evaporate quickly. You could also use rose water spirit as well, which is probably the best medium to use for this. Start at the very bottom and make it nice, dark and concentrated. And then as I got higher and higher to the top, I would dilute with a little bit more of the vodka so that it created a lighter grey at the very top of the cake. Blend those through if you can, and then add some on the very top of your cake. You don't necessarily have to add it to the middle because you are going to cover that with your top tier anyway. To add stability, I'm adding in 3 dowels and then 1 in the center, so 4 dowels in total, and this will support the weight of our cake. Give it a twist as you push it down into the cake, and that just ensures that it goes down straight. Press it in firmly and then pop on some buttercream. This is going to stick the top tier of our cake on top. It's actually been sitting in the freezer for 10 minutes so I can handle it with my hands and it doesn't dent. Now I'm going to create the sky and the background for the top tier. This is blue gel food color mixed in with a little bit of vodka. We're basically doing the exact same thing again. Starting at the very top though, and this time making it dark at the top and then lighter at the very bottom if you can. To create the lighter shade, again, all you do is just water down your paint with a little bit more vodka. This time you will want to cover the whole top because that will be left bare, unless you'd like to pop on a little cake topper that you create yourself. You can totally do that too. Here I have a brick sort of pattern on an embossed plastic. Add on any kind of fondant that is, I guess, colored to bricks, and then roll it over once with your rolling pin. Take it off your embossed mat and then cut it to the size that you need. At this point you could even distress it with some paint to make it look a little bit more realistic. I just left it as it is here. Cut squares out of this pattern, and this will be the shape of a house that's going to go on our cake. My cake is still pretty moist from the paint, so I'm just going to stick it right on top. If it does dry up, then you just need to add a little bit of water at the back of your bricks to create a bit of glue. To create the roof, I have some terracotta coloured fondant, rolling it out thin just like the other one, and then cutting out the general shape of what you would expect a roof or a hut to sort of have. I'm keeping the look of this cartoonish, so I'm going to go with that sort of shape there. Stick it on directly underneath, and notice how the bricks are lined up on the bottom cake exactly where the top ones, the bricks on the top cake is. So I pretty much want it to be like a mirror effect. And then to create that sort of texture in the roof, I've just taken a spatula and just created some lines. Add a little bit of water onto your brick house to stick on your little windows. I have left it white, and then I've painted over it with a little bit of blue. This is where the little bit of black gel food colour came in. I want it to be a little bit more eerie, so I darkened it. And then to create our trees, take a spatula and some brown fondant. Cut out the trunk first, and then a funnel kind of shape so that you can cut out sections in it to create, just to create some branches. You can shape the bottom of the tree however you like. I left mine a little bit curved just so it looks a bit more realistic. And then for the bottom cake, I wanted them to be a little bit more freakish looking, so I made really thin branches and then I pointed the ends. Once you have your two set of trees, glue them onto your cake. I've used a little bit of water here for the top one. And it doesn't really matter what shape your branches are here because you are going to be covering it completely with some buttercream in the shape of leaves. Line up the bottom trees, make sure they're in line with the top one, and then stick them onto your cake. These ones here aren't going to have any leaves on top, so I'm kind of trying to arrange the branches to look a little bit more kind of eerie looking or dark. Using the back of your paintbrush, emboss them with a little bit of shape so that they look a little bit more realistic. And do the same with the top trees as well. Cut an inward pointing triangle into a piping bag just like that to create some leaf tips. And then you can do two different coloured leaves. I've added two colours in the one bag just to save you some time. And it also looks a bit more realistic when you have two-toned petals, two-toned leaves. And pipe directly onto the branches. If you wanted to continue the fondant theme, you can cut out fondant leaves instead, but it's a lot faster and a lot easier to just go in with the buttercream instead. I've used a grass tip for the very bottom of the cake. At the very top tier I've used green, and then as I got closer to the edge I turned to black. This tied the cake together really nicely and really separated the two tiers. I've gone and done 2 rows for this. Do 2 rows at the very bottom as well in black, so just starting off of where you finished. This is where my piping bag exploded and I like crapped my pants because I'm like, no, now I have to start over. But luckily I just pulled it off and cleaned up that section and kept going. So make sure that your piping bag hole for your tip is nice and small to stop that from happening. To make the trees look a little bit more eerie looking. I added in some black paint just over very lightly, give it a bit more texture and shape. For a finishing touch, I've added little edible silver pearls. This replicates the ashes that you see in the upside down world. And that is how you create a Stranger Things themed cake of the upside down world. If I were to turn this cake upside down, which I'm not going to do, which I might actually do, it'll look perfectly normal because it's upside down. Are we ready? I'm not. Ta-da! Upside down cake. And it looks perfectly normal whichever way you put it. Let's put it back before I break it. Wow. I'd also like to quickly feature these gorgeous creations from Mariana Hines and also from Amy Laporta 1228. Thank you guys so much for tagging us in your photos. Your cakes look amazing. By the way, they look fabulous. So thank you. And if you'd like to be featured, don't forget to tag us #Rosie's Dessert Spot on Instagram. For those of you who are okay with it being featured, maybe just write Rosie would give you permission in the description somewhere, so I know that I can share it. Anywho, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And again, don't forget to check out the lovely baker's cake in collaboration with this one. She has prepared an epic cake for you guys, so please do head on over and see that one there as well. Link will be in the little eye or in the description box below this video. Thanks again, and I'll catch you next time. Also, if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to do so. We upload a new video every Tuesday. Bye for now.